Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. That incredible line is from Marianne Williamson's book, H.A. Return to Love. Now, have you ever looked at someone you admire? A friend? A colleague? Maybe a public figure? And felt this strange, almost uncomfortable mix of awe and envy? I'm not talking about that bitter, nasty kind of envy, but more of a wistful longing. A feeling that what they have, what they are, hits a nerve deep inside you. Something you just can't put your finger on. What if I told you that feeling has nothing to do with them? What if it's a message, a secret map, pointing directly to the most powerful, brilliant, and yes, terrifying parts of yourself that you've hidden away? Today, we are diving deep into one of the most profound concepts in psychology, the golden shadow. And we're going to uncover why the ungoodness might be the single biggest thing holding you back from a truly fulfilled life. So, to get the golden shadow, we first have to talk about its more famous, darker twin, the shadow. Coined by the legendary psychiatrist Carl Jung, the shadow is basically the unconscious basement of our personality. It's the place we shove everything we don't want to look at, everything we've been told is bad, unacceptable, or shameful. Think of it like a tightly locked suitcase you drag behind you your entire life. Inside, you've packed away your anger, your greed, your laziness, your irrational fears, your secret desires. And we all do this. Society, our parents, our schools, they hand us a rule book for what a good person is supposed to look like. A good person is polite, not angry, generous, not selfish, hardworking, not lazy. So, from a really young age, we start building our public identity, what Jung called the persona. It's the polite mask we wear to be accepted, to fit in, to be loved. And the parts of us that don't fit that mask, they get disowned, repressed, and tossed right into the shadow. Here's the problem. What you repress doesn't just vanish. It festers. It operates in the dark, and it influences your behavior in ways you don't even realize. That's why someone who insists they're never angry might be dripping with passive-aggressive comments, chronic sarcasm, or even develop sudden, inexplicable illnesses. Their anger, denied a healthy outlet, just seeps out sideways. The shadow, when you ignore it, doesn't go away. It just gets smarter and often more destructive in finding ways to be hurt. This is the part of shadow work most of us know about, confronting our inner demons, our so-called ugliness. It's the tough but crucial work of opening that suitcase and just acknowledging the messy stuff inside. It's about realizing that having angry thoughts doesn't make you an angry person, or that feeling selfish sometimes is just part of being human. It's all about integration, becoming a whole, complex person. Not just a curated, good one. But here's the mind-bending twist. This is what most people miss, and it's the whole reason for this video. Jung discovered that we don't just repress our bad traits. We also repress our positive ones. We lock away our light, our brilliance, our courage, our talent, our capacity for incredible love and leadership. This disowned, radiant potential is his eyes, the golden shadow. It's the pure gold we've mistaken for dirt and buried in the darkest corner of our mind. Now, why on earth would we do that? It sounds completely nuts. Why would anyone willingly push away their own greatness? Well, the reasons are deeply human and painfully relatable. First up is the profound fear of standing out. You've heard of tall poppy syndrome, right? The tendency to cut down anyone who grows taller than the rest. From a young age, we learn that being exceptional can feel dangerous. It invites criticism, jealousy, and isolation. Maybe you were that kid in class who always had their hand up. After a while, did the other kids start calling you a know-it-all? Did the teacher, maybe a little overwhelmed, ask you to let someone else have a turn. You learn the painful lesson fast. My intelligence makes other people uncomfortable. To be liked, I need to dim my own light. I need to play dumb. And just like that, you packed your brilliance into the shadow suitcase. You decided unconsciously that it was safer just to be average. Another huge reason is the fear of responsibility. Your gold, your unique gifts, they come with a silent contract. If you're a truly gifted leader, you have a responsibility to lead. If you have a profound artistic talent, you have a responsibility to create. If you have a deep well of compassion, you have a responsibility to care. And that responsibility is terrifying. It means you can no longer play small. You can't hide in the crowd anymore. Imagine you're at work, and you have a natural gift for strategy. You see the path forward for a project with crystal clarity, while everyone else is lost in the weeds. But to voice that to one and then that talent means you're probably going to be put in charge. It means the project's success or failure now rests on your shoulders. The risk of failing, of letting people down, feels so huge that it's just easier to stay quiet. And so your strategic genius, your leadership, gets packed away. You choose comfort over your calling. Then you've got the powerful influence of our family and our culture. We're born into a system of beliefs, a family ecosystem with its own set of spoken and unspoken rules. If you grew up in a family that valued humility and modesty above all else, any display of ambition or pride might have been shot down. Phrases like, "Don't get too big for your britches," or "Who do you think you are powerful soul shapers. They're the scissors that trim down our golden poppies. Maybe you had a powerful, charismatic voice, a natural gift for storytelling. But you were raised in a family that believed children should be seen and not heard. Your vibrant self-expression was labeled as showing off or attention-seeking. To keep the peace, to earn your parents' love, you learned to be quiet, to be reserved, to swallow your words. And that magnificent, powerful voice, it went right into the golden shadow, waiting, silent. This all leads to the final, and maybe most tragic, reason we disown our gold. A core belief that we just aren't worthy of it. We develop low self-esteem, or a crippling case of imposter syndrome. We look at our own talents and think, this can't be real. It's a fluke. I'm not actually that smart, or creative, or compassionate. And if I try to act like I am, everyone's going to find out I'm a fraud. This feeling is a direct result of pushing our gold away for so long. We don't even recognize it as ours anymore. It feels alien, borrowed, unearned. So the golden shadow just sits there, this incredible reservoir of potential, locked away. The danger isn't just that we're not using our gifts. The danger is that this repressed energy, just like the negative shadow, will find a way out. And when it does, it's often just as destructive. So how do we even begin to figure out what gold we've buried? How can we spot it? This brings us to one of the most useful, if a little unsettling, psychological tools you will ever learn. The principle of projection. Jung said that what we fail to see in ourselves, we will unconsciously project onto other people. We see this all the time with the dark shadow, right? The person who is secretly dishonest is often the one who's deeply suspicious of everyone else, constantly accusing them of lying. They're projecting their own disowned untrustworthiness onto the world. Okay, now flip it. The exact same principle works for the golden shadow. The positive qualities you see in others, the ones you are intensely, almost magnetically drawn to, that's your gold. That's your own disowned potential staring right back at you. Think back to that question I asked at the very beginning. That person you admire with that mix of awe and wistful envy. Their brilliance is a mirror. Are you totally captivated by your friend who quit their soul-crushing corporate job to become a freelance artist, living a life of passion and freedom? It's highly likely that's because your own creative, risk-taking soul is locked in the shadow. Their courage isn't just cool. It's a direct reflection of the courage you've disowned in yourself. You're not just admiring them. Your own shadow is screaming, that could be us. That, or should'll be us. Is a second, more challenging way to spot your golden shadow. Look at what irritates you for no good reason. I know, it's a paradox. But sometimes you'll meet someone who just gets under your skin. They seem too much. Maybe they're too confident, a total show-off, or obnoxiously positive. You find yourself rolling your eyes at their enthusiasm or their self-assurance. Often that intense irritation is another form of projection. When someone freely expresses a positive quality that you have brutally repressed in yourself, it can feel like a personal attack. Their freedom just highlights your own cage. If you spent your whole life learning to be quiet and modest, someone who is unapologetically loud, proud, and takes up space can feel abrasive. But that irritation is a massive clue. It's your shadow saying, I want to be that free too, but you won't let me. And I resent seeing someone else do it so easily. A third, gentler way to find your gold is to journey back in time. Think about your childhood. Before the world told you who you were supposed to be, what did you love? What did you do for hours on end, completely lost in a state of flow? Were you constantly building elaborate Lego cities? Writing fantasy stories? Organizing all the neighborhood kids into complex games? Directing plays with your siblings? These childhood passions are often pure, undiluted expressions of our innate gifts, our core genius. Somewhere along the line, we get told to grow up and put away childish things. We trade our box of crayons for a briefcase. We trade our love of building fantasy worlds for building spreadsheets. But that creative, organizational, or storytelling genius doesn't die. It just goes into the shadow. Reconnecting with those childhood joys can be a powerful way to rediscover the gold you were forced to leave behind. So, what are the actual dangers of leaving this gold buried? Why did I say this was dangerous? It's not just about missing out on your potential. An unclaimed golden shadow can actively sabotage your life. The first danger is a life of what Henry David Thoreau called quiet desperation. It's that feeling of being a ghost in your own life. You do everything you're supposed to do, but this deep, gnawing sense of meaninglessness and inauthenticity infects everything. It's the feeling that the real you is somewhere else, watching this empty performance from a distance. This quiet desperation can lead to depression, anxiety, and a chronic lack of energy. Think about it. You're using a tremendous amount of psychic energy to keep your own light suppressed. It's exhausting. You're living a half-life because the most vibrant, energetic parts of you are locked away. You're surviving, but you are not truly alive. The second danger is active self-sabotage. This is your shadow's cry for help, turning into a scream of rage. If a part of you yearns to be a leader, but you consciously refuse the call, your unconscious might just trip you up so you lose that safe job you're clinging to. If your creative soul is desperate to be expressed, you might find yourself accidentally making mistakes or starting fights at your boring, stable job, forcing a change you're too afraid to make for yourself. It's a paradoxical, painful way for your deeper self to try and save you from the very prison you've built. The third danger, and one of the most common, is perpetual hero worship. When you don't own your own gold, you project it onto others and live vicariously through them. You become the ultimate fan, the devoted follower, the person who champions everyone else's dreams but your own. You might get obsessed with a celebrity, a guru, or even a friend, seeing them as the embodiment of everything you wish you could be. This isn't just admiration, it's a form of spiritual outsourcing. You give away your power, your agency, and your life's great adventure to someone else. You watch them live instead of living yourself. You become a commentator on the game of life instead of a player on the field. Your life becomes a tribute to someone else's gold, while your own remains buried, unused, and slowly losing its shine. So, what do we do? How do we begin this sacred, and yes, terrifying, process of reclaiming our gold, of integrating the golden shadow? This isn't a 5-minute fix, it's a journey. But it starts with a few conscious, deliberate steps. Step 1 is simply acknowledgement. It's the act of looking at your projections and saying, I see you. The next time you feel that pang of admiration and envy for your courageous friend, stop, take a breath, and whisper to yourself, the courage I see in them is also in me. You don't have to believe it 100% at first. The goal is to simply stop outsourcing your goal. Name the quality. That is my disowned creativity. That is my forgotten leadership. That is my suppressed joy. This simple act of naming begins to loosen the locks on that shadow suitcase. It's the first step in calling your power back home. Step 2 is to engage in what one Jungian analyst calls small, deviant acts. You have to act in small ways that are deviant from your conditioned persona. If you've disowned your spontaneity and playfulness, your deviant act is to book a last-minute weekend trip for no reason at all, or to take a random afternoon off just to go to the movies. It will feel scary, frivolous, and maybe even wrong. That's how you know you're on the right track. If you've disowned your voice and your opinions, your deviant act is to speak up just once in a meeting. You don't have to argue. Just state your perspective clearly and calmly. From my point of view, or I actually have a different thought on this, your heart will pound. You'll feel like a total imposter. Do it anyway. These small acts are like little experiments, proving to your psyche that it is in fact safe to let a little bit of gold out to play. Step 3 is to create a safe container for your gold to express itself. This is where creative expression becomes more than a hobby. It becomes a vital therapeutic tool. Journaling, painting, making music, dancing, any form of non-judgmental creation. You're not trying to create a masterpiece. You are simply giving your shadow, both the dark and the golden, a playground. You could write a story about a heroic character who is secretly you. You could paint with the bold, bright colors you'd never dare to wear. This is how you start a dialogue with your unconscious. And finally, and this might be the most important one, find your tribe. Or at the very least, find a mirror. If you want to reclaim your courage, you need to spend time with courageous people. Not to worship them, but to learn from them. To see up close that they aren't gods, but just humans who have made the choice to own their goal. Their presence will normalize your own potential. It will give you permission to shine, because you'll finally be in a place where light is welcomed, not feared. Integrating your golden shadow is the work of a lifetime. It's the journey from being a well-behaved, curated persona to being a whole, authentic, and truly powerful human being. It's about finally understanding that your greatest fear was never your inadequacy, but the dazzling, world-changing light you carry inside you. It's about having the courage to open that basement door, walk past the scary monsters, and pick up the gold that has had your name on it all along. If this journey of self-discovery and owning your brilliance resonates with you, make sure to subscribe, because we go deep here. And in the next video, we're going to explore the fascinating Jungian concept of the anima and animuses, the hidden, contrary masculine and feminine energies inside all of us, and how understanding them is the key to incredible relationships and inner balance. So, I'll leave you with a question to reflect on. What gold might be hiding in your shadow? Based on who you admire, what irritates you, or what you loved as a child? Share one positive quality you suspect might just be a reflection of your own forgotten brilliance. I would be honored to read your thoughts in the comments below.